This is Mark's Watch from Making the Cut. Boy, were there some changes in Boston yesterday. Danny Ainge steps down and Brad Stevens moves upstairs. Mind you, Brad Stevens has absolutely positively no qualifications for that job. It's thankful for the Boston Celtics that Stevens will have a strong staff, and that's very important. Isn't that right, Jeff Goodman? But I digress. When we look back at the Boston Celtics and what they could have done under Stevens and Ainge, it is nothing but a letdown. Have they been successful? Absolutely. If you look at the record, the 3 times they went to the conference finals, all of that, and believe you me, all the Brad Stevens, Danny Ainge, Boston Celtics, you're not allowed to criticize them, defenders, all came out yesterday, ignoring the fact that the Boston Celtics had every inherent advantage and didn't take advantage of it at all. No, they don't get a free pass. No, Danny Ainge doesn't get a free pass. No, Brad Stevens doesn't get a free pass. They had tons of assets. They had tons of lottery picks. They have the lure of being in Boston where you're going to attract free agents. And you know what happened? Danny Ainge did not have the guts to pull the trigger when he needed to pull the trigger and trade those assets to get another big chip in the game. And this happened before LeBron left the East, and it happened after LeBron left the East. Look no further than Toronto. Toronto knew that the odds were that Kawhi Leonard was not going to resign there. They traded for him anyway, and what did they get? An NBA championship. The Boston Celtics could have traded for Anthony Davis. And yes, you can say, oh, he was never going to resign. Who cares? Who cares? First of all, you don't know that. Second of all, even if he doesn't, you could have gotten yourself a championship. The window's closed. I agree with Woj on the Woj podcast today. They had this window. They had Kyrie. They had Gordon Hayward. They had all these guys, and they let the window close because they did not have the guts. That front office led by Danny Ainge did not have the guts to pull the trigger, to cash in those chips. You know why? Because you're afraid to fail. See, it's easy to sell look at all the assets we have. Look at and everyone, oh yeah, next year. Oh yeah, 2 years from now. Oh yeah, as if the other teams aren't going to try. Look no further than the Brooklyn Nets, who tried, bringing in KD, bringing in Kyrie. And that's the irony in this whole thing. After the Nets took so much criticism for being fleeced by the Celtics, it might be the Nets who get a championship long before the Celtics get a championship. And Brad Stevens, you don't get a free pass either. Injuries or no injuries, people had caught up with you, and there were no adjustments. There was no adjustments. And you hit Ryan, everybody has injuries. There was a lot of injuries this year because of the bubble. The Los Angeles Lakers are sitting here, on the cusp of being eliminated in the first round because in part of the injuries. So no, you don't get a free pass for the injuries. The Boston Celtics had a chance to take these assets and cash it in and to be the next mini dynasty in the NBA. And Danny Ainge decided to sell hope instead of getting the fans of Boston another title. So no, I'm not rewarding Danny Ainge. And yes, he got a title back in 2008. But in the Brad Stevens, Danny Ainge era, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing with LeBron in the East, even though you had a Game 7 on your home floor, with Brad Stevens being coached, by the way. And nothing before you run and you quit. So, Boston, your window is closed. Because by the time you try to cash things in, there'll just be another team in the East who went for it, like the Brooklyn Nets went for it, who went for it like the Lakers went for it last year. While Boston sold, hey, we have assets for the future. The future was supposed to be post-LeBron Eastern Conference. And we've watched the Toronto Raptors win a title. We've watched the Miami Heat, the same Miami Heat team that was eliminated in the first round this year. At least they were NBA Finals runner-ups. And Boston, they're the ultimate in participation trophy. So now, when you look at Ainge Stevens, was it a success? It was nice. Was it what it could have been? Absolutely, positively not. And Ainge nor Brad Stevens deserve a free pass on that.